Hello, welcome to the Chatting with Dr. Stevel show. I'm your host, Dr. Stevel. Now, today's guest has been making a name for himself in the Canadian comic book industry. You've seen his work in The Adventures of Aurora Man. I can never say Aurora Man. Aurora Man. And now in his own creation, Blackthorne. Welcome to the show, Colin Work.
Thank you very much.
How are things going with you over in where are you in Calgary?
I am in Watson, Saskatchewan, actually.
Saskatchewan. I would have thought that you would have been in Calgary because your creation Blackthorne takes place in Calgary.
Um, Blackthorne takes place in Calgary because when I created the character and everyone that's kind of involved, that's where I lived. I was 16, 17. We moved out to Saskatchewan in 1997. So when I decided to kind of revamp the book and make it what it is today, it stayed in Calgary because there's a lot more going on there than there is here in Saskatchewan.
Well, all right. Well, that's pretty cool. But with you being in Saskatchewan, I mean, has the landscape of Calgary changed? So if you start using some iconic places, would it have
Oh yeah,
changed?
oh yeah, big time. That's what the magic of Google's for.
Fair enough, because I'm over here in Burlington, and if you ever remember that Canadian series called The Pitiful Human Lizard,
Oh yeah,
that's done by Jason Liu, and he's hit a lot of places that we know of and we've been to. So it's like, oh my gosh, it's that park, it's this mall. It's like, we start freaking out. Do you
yeah.
think you
That's
get the same response from people from Calgary?
I have.
Yeah.
When I guested in Calgary in 2019, the cover of issue 0 is a photo that a gentleman took that I found online. Um, so it's a photo of Calgary, downtown Calgary, with Blackthorne kind of standing there. His back is to the reader. And the amount of response that I had of people walking by, because I had it set up on a little display, the amount of people that walked by, hey, that's such and such, hey, that's there, hey, that's, so they would grab it because they thought that was awesome and good enough. Like, oh yeah, lots of stuff like that.
It must be pretty cool when the fans tell you that. Like, yeah.
Yeah, oh, for sure. And especially for that to happen in Calgary, where the book is based, that was pretty neat.
Well, yeah, you actually are a superhero in Calgary. I have a news clip from a couple of years ago, right before you're going to go to Calgary Comic Con.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me playing that, it'll pretty well explain everything about you and Blackthorne to our millions of viewers out there, or three
Sounds good.
at this point. We'll get more. And
Has its own comic book superhero. In the 3 editions so far, Blackthorne has saved our city from repeated destruction. His creator is back in town this weekend for the Calgary Comic Expo. Kevin Green caught up with him last night.
Colin Work first envisioned a caped Calgary Crusader when he was still in his teens.
I drew and wrote up to 50 issues just for myself.
Now he's creating comics for the world to see. His character, Blackthorne, lost the cape, bulked up, and has starred in 3 published editions of Work's comic series. A dark, brooding, reluctant superhero who left that life after failing to save Calgary from being nearly destroyed.
Half the city is wiped out. They're dead. So he decides he's done with superheroing.
That's the backstory, and as the comic series opens, a personal tragedy draws Blackthorne back to his superhero calling.
He comes back to Calgary and sees, wow, like things have really gone downhill here. So he straps the boots on again and decides to clean up the streets again.
As a budding Canadian artist and writer, Work does all the work himself,
Spent
writing,
8
drawing,
hours.
inking, coloring, and lettering.
The only thing I don't do is the printing, because I don't have a printing machine.
Work lists among his comic book inspiration spawns Todd McFarlane, also a Calgarian, Spider-Man's John Romita, and Batman's David Finch.
The very first comic I ever bought with my own money was Batman. And so yeah, he's kind of a, let's say, a homage to Batman.
Well, he hasn't hit those heights yet. Work is on his way. He's been invited to the Calgary Comic Expo this year, where he appears as a guest creator. Kevin Green, CTV News, Calgary.
It's pretty cool, and you'll find Colin work at this year's Calgary Expo in the Creator Guests area. That's in the upper level of the Big Four building.
Wow. That's quite the piece on you, man. That's pretty good promo.
Yeah, they had that plus a article on their website. It was really neat, and it all just happened kind of circumstantially. I was pretty active on Twitter at that time, not so much anymore, but I posted about issue number 1 of Blackthorne's out, blah blah blah, whatever, and then I tagged the Calgary Herald, like a bunch of different news outlets in Calgary, just whatever, see what happens. And CTV Calgary kind of bit, and they messaged me and wanted to know if I wanted to do an interview like right now. And this was January. I was at the day job when I was still working construction, and I was like, well, I can't really right now, but we'll work something out. And I never thought in a million years that I'd be going to be a guest at Calgary Expo. I just kind of threw my name in the hat, just whatever, see what happens. And I got the spot. And then so I contacted them right away. Yeah, I'm coming out. Let's go. So it was the wife and I, we drove 8 hours from Watson here to Calgary, and got to the hotel, and the interviewer came up and we did it right there.
Awesome. He did a great job with all the editing and whatnot. Now,
Yeah.
Jay Crawford, he's been following my show. He runs a Comic-Con. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, Jay, but my brain is all full. But he says, that's awesome. Didn't know you did it all. And he's also supported your Blackthorne.
Yes. And I greatly appreciate it.
We have Chad Park from out on the East Coast now, Newfoundland. Hey, guys, how's it going?
Things are going good.
Buddy of mine, Dave Dahlman. Being from Edmonton, I have mixed feelings about saving Calgary. Okay, fair enough. But having just driven through Calgary, is definitely time for him to return. Wow.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you could say that.
Thanks, Dave. So okay, what's the backstory for this now? You said that this Blackthorne character left after half the city was destroyed, and then he came back because it was worse than that.
Yeah, in a nutshell, kind of. Actually, over on my Patreon right now, I did 50 plus issues of kind of the precursor series to what Blackthorne is now. It details his time on this team that he used to be a part of, that he used to be the leader of, and something happens in the city where half the people are wiped out. Not necessarily the city's half destroyed, but half the people are killed.
I saw that in an Avengers movie.
Yeah, but there was no snap.
Okay.
It's so what happens is he feels like he failed the city, so he decides, I'm done being a hero. His wife and his son are okay. That's good enough for him. One of his teammates die in this whole situation. Another one who is, if you read the book now, Cyber Slash, he's a cyborg vampire. So
really cool. I like this already.
So he decides to embrace his vampire side more, and it's like, I'm splitting, I'm out of here. And the fourth teammate, he becomes taken over by this godlike entity. So he goes out into space. I'm out of here. I'm not dealing with this. So Blackthorne just retires. He goes home, wants to spend the rest of his life with his wife and his son. And then circumstances happen where that's taken away from him.
Oh man.
So he goes to travel the world to kind of find himself again, kind of rebuild himself once again. And then when he comes back to Calgary, he looks around like, okay, like this place really needs me again. So he decides, let's get at her again.
Wow. And what does he do? He just goes beats up bad guys. Does he kill them? Like,
He just
is
beats
like
them up.
that? Just beat them up.
Yeah, with
Okay.
extreme prejudice.
Obviously. So obviously, do the cops like that, or are they after him too because he's quite the violent person?
You get to meet a few characters in issue number 2 in the backstory that I have in there, where the chief of police is on Blackthorne's side because they have a past history. And he recruits these other 2 cops who are going to kind of be liaisons kind of idea. But the commissioner of the police does not like Blackthorne at all and wants him gone out of the picture, which is something I'm going to deal with the next storyline starting in issue number 6.
Number 6. Okay. So storyline. So this all happened. This is like 5 issues. Your Blackthorne.
Yeah.
And right now, you've got a Kickstarter coming out, which is for issue 4. And if you haven't read any of them, which I haven't, I put in for the tier to get all the issues.
Yep.
So.
And the fun thing about these new ones for the Kickstarter is from issue 0 to issue 4. Issue number 0 to issue number 3, I did in full color because I figured that's the way they have to be done. Even though my back history is black and white comics. Like I love black and white comics. But I decided, okay, everyone around me that's doing comics is doing color. So I'm going to do color. And the coloring process for me is by far the worst. I don't like it at all. My color theory is kind of hot garbage, whatever. I decided this one, I was about 3/4 of the way done coloring this one, issue number 4. And I couldn't nail it. I just didn't like it. So I just converted one of the pages to kind of a grayscale. I was like, that's what's up. Like, I like that. So Alfonso at Studio Comics Press there, he's going to change all the other pages to grayscale for issues 0 to 3, so they all match.
Okay.
And that's the way my art should be, is grayscale, black and white. So these ones that are coming with the Kickstarter are all new printings of all of it black and white.
I don't get any colored versions.
I have a couple kicking around I can send you to.
Okay, that's cool. That's a cool story. I did not know that. So you think it looks better in black and white grayscale, huh?
Yes.
Okay, that's cool. You are the artist. I have not seen it, so I can't really judge. But your artwork seems pretty darn good.
Thank you.
This is your Aurora Man, or sorry, not Aurora Man. Your Blackthorne.
Yep.
He's quite dark. Hey, he wears a mask too. Why isn't he complaining?
Exactly. He's fine.
Let me get rid of this. That's issue 2. It's a really cool cover. What is that? The Calgary Tower or something?
Yes.
Okay, you'll have to excuse me because I'm not a Calgarian, so this is still new to me.
That's actually the only that cover there. That was colored by Donovan Yasik out of Winnipeg, and I love that cover. Anytime I do any promo work, my banner for conventions, I use that because the color just was outstanding in it.
And it also shows he's Canadian, which is cool.
Exactly. That's the only real piece of Canadiana Maple Leaf stuff that I have had in the book so far.
Yeah, a lot of people, when they create Canadian superheroes, they automatically have to put the maple leaf somewhere. I mean, that's what we thought. Yourself, you didn't. The Pitiful Human Lizard, I just totally avoided it. But, he's a hero, and now he's one of the most popular Canadian ones. And the gentleman that you worked for, Aurora Man, same thing. He's got no Canadian logos on him. And by the way, since I'm saying Aurora Man, Jeff Burton says, super pumped to see these in print, my friend.
Well, they're going to be good.
Speaking of Jeff Burton, you got your start working in the comic industry with Jay by doing some issues of Aurora Man.
Yes, I did. These
are Now, what is the Sunday funnies that you've got here?
We did a series of strips at one time where it was just like a one-page comic strip of Aurora Man fighting some snowman or whatever else, and it's just a collection of those strips.
Wow.
And various other strips that were done, kind of one-pagers.
Okay, so you collected them all and put them in a big book, huh?
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
like
That's
to get a
back when
hold
we
of
were. That's back when we were doing the little mini comics, the Made in the Water Tower comics. Yeah.
Yeah, they call them Ashcan editions. So how's it like to
Yeah.
work with Jeff on these things? And how did he find you? Seriously, this is interesting because he's got this idea for Aurora Man, and now he needs an artist, and you happen to show up on his radar.
Well, we didn't meet because of the comic book industry or anything at all. He started as a teacher at the school that my daughter was going to, and she said to him one day, I think is how it went, "Oh, my dad is into comics. Like, you guys should talk." So we started kind of building up a bit of a friendship, and then he because he loves Starman. Starman is his guy. Like, Batman's my guy, Starman's his guy.
Both your characters show a little bits of those characters.
Oh, yeah. so he started telling me about this character, Aurora Man, that he was kind of working on with a friend of ours, Andrew, who I'm now doing a book with too, and a friend of his from Andrew Lawrence, and another friend of his from Georgia, Ted Green, and it's this character, Aurora Man, and everyone, myself included, figured, you know what, Jeff, like, this character should be based on you. Like, the character design looks like you. He's a husband, a father, a teacher. Like, that's you. So he kind of took the ball and rolled with it. And he approached me about doing one of the, I think it's number 3, the meeting, where you get to meet Yukar and Cornelius and stuff for the first time. So he approached me about doing that work, and then it just kind of went on and on from there. And actually, issue number 3 here is the last Aurora Man that I've done.
Okay. There looks like a Sandman there, but he says Cornelian something?
That is Wizen. He's kind of Sandman-esque, but it's wheat. Like, he uses the land as his power.
Gotcha. Land-based powers, that's usually pretty good. Oh my gosh. Greetings from Holland. Take care, buddy. That's a buddy of mine I served with in Afghanistan with. He's Dutch. It's not weird. Hello, Ed. Miss you, buddy. Wow. Jeff Burton mentioned earlier that now the back of the jacket has a leaf on it. So it's subtle, but now we've got a question for you from Jay Crawford. Since you do everything in the comic book industry, how long does it take you to put out a comic?
The first couple years, the first little bit, I was able to hammer one out about, issue number 0 is 4 pages. So it was just kind of dipping my toes in, see what people thought of the character. That didn't take me very long, but I was learning everything as I was going. Like, I had never lettered a word in my life, and you can tell when you look at issue 0. Computer coloring, like all that stuff. So that one probably took me 3 or 4 months because I was just kind of learning as I went. And that came out in May of 2018. And then September of 2018, issue number 1 came out. And then I worked on an 8-page Christmas story that year too, which that took me, I got that done kind of as I was working on number 1. I got that done by November of that year. So by the end of 2018, I had 3 stories out. And then as soon as I was done number 1, I started number 2, and I got that done for Calgary Expo in 2019. So September to April, whatever. And it was down to the wire. Like, I almost didn't get it done. And then issue number 3 came out last year, I think. No, I don't remember. But it's taking longer and longer for every issue. Issue number 4, it took me almost a year and a half, I would say, because my plan for 2020 was I wasn't going to do any shows at all. And then COVID hit and all this stuff. So there was really no drive to, I have to get this issue done for this show. And then the coloring kind of set me back. But then once I kind of got that figured, I got it done pretty quick. So it can go for anywhere from 3 to 4 months to a year.
Wow. As a comic book artist and just starting out, do you have to have another job to supplement the income? Because otherwise you need some hell of a financer.
Yes. Yeah. Up until October of 2020, I was working construction, like residential construction. And then, or it was actually the year before that. Yeah, it was the year before. I'm getting all lost in these years, not being able to go anywhere or do anything. And then, it was 2019 that I quit construction. And then I started working at an agricultural parts department, not too far from here. So, the day job is definitely necessary.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because the guy Jason Liu did the Pitifully Human Lizard. I mean, he had a full-time job, and then he was just like, writing and putting out all these pages, and he would just like post pictures of all these like pages in blue right on his like floor and stuff.
Yep.
Do you do your art on paper or is it all on computer?
I've tried doing it just digitally, but I don't like it as much. So it's all physical. I have it all. I have all the pages here at the house.
All right, we've got a couple of people watching on the Stevil site. Steve L. If you guys want to comment on this thing, just log into chatting with Dr. Steve over here. I can see your comments and I can give you a nice shout out, and you'll be happy and tell your grandma and stuff that you were on the internet. I mean, it's gonna be cool. That's what I did. That's mean. That's pretty freaking cool. But what inspired you to, like, you said you've done Blackthorne, you've created him a long time ago, right? Back when you were like 15 or?
Yeah.
Okay, so what inspired you to decide, all right, right now, the world needs Blackthorne. Why? Let's put it out there.
To do the book now?
Yeah.
I just wanted to do my own stuff. I enjoyed doing Aurora Man with Jeff. But at the end of the day, it wasn't my stuff. I designed a lot of the characters in Aurora Man. I didn't design Aurora Man himself, but I did designs for there's a wrestling one that we did. There's a wrestling issue that we did. He got me to design all the luchadors. They're lumberjack luchadors. I designed all those. I designed Yukon Cornelius. I did the designs for the Governor General character. There's a good little list of characters that I did do the design work for. But at the end of the day, it was Jeff's property. That was Jeff's characters. And I wanted to bring my stuff back, because even when I wasn't doing comics at all, like there was a point there before I met Jeff that it was, well, I guess I'm just going to be a guy that everyone knows that can do these drawings and whatever. Like it's not really going anywhere. So I just kind of put everything in the back pocket. But Blackthorne and these characters still kind of came out every once in a while. So when I decided, okay, I'm going to do my own stuff, that's what it just came out.
So, okay, cool. Also, working on Aurora Man's kind of inspired you. Like, Aurora Man's working, so why not Blackthorne, huh?
Yeah.
That's a freaking great reason. Why not?
Another Canadian comic. Why not?
Oh, I totally support Canadian superheroes. I mean, the first time I ever saw Captain Canuck and Alpha Flight, as a kid, it's like, it's happening in Canada.
Exactly.
And now we've got a lot of that happening. I mean, a lot of my friends right now are creating comic books and they're putting product out there, and I support it because stories are really good and stuff. Like Aurora Man seems lighter. I mean, Blackthorne, he seems like the kind of guy that wants to beat people up, right? So it's almost like the Batman to Superman. Aurora Man would be the Superman, like Mr. Happy?
Yeah. Um, in our group, the CCBA, we have enough all ages books. Not saying that Blackthorne's going to be just rife with swear words and all this kind of crazy stuff. But I wanted him to be kind of, because we all kind of have a shared universe in a way. Um, I I wanted Blackthorne to be kind of the more PG-13, the little bit darker corner of our universe that we got going on, and that's if you want your character to be a little bit darker, like come on over, let's play, let's have some fun with it, like not take it so seriously.
Fair enough. Yeah, like it is a comic book world, so I mean, actual things that could happen, like get arrested or sued and stuff. Maybe we can kind of brush that off, right? Because we're in our little
Exactly.
fantasy world, so you can break a few legs and stuff, and yeah, you still walk in the
Yeah,
streets.
exactly. Well, that's the nice thing about all us creators in the CCBA. It's kind of like the circus. You don't like the guy that shoots out of the cannon. Well, just wait for the clown car that comes out with all the clowns coming out. Like there's always going to be something new, something different coming up.
All right. Well, who's your biggest inspirations for comic book artists?
Um, for comic book artists, Greg Capullo has always been massive for me. Um, ever since his work on Quasar and X Force, and then jumping on to Spawn, and now like his run on Batman is just ridiculous. Um, Greg Capullo, guy Joe Madureira, he was a huge influence on me when he got onto X-Men. Is when I really started getting into X-Men. Like I was there for Jay Lee near the end, but Joe Madureira, when he brought in that more Japanese manga flavor to American comics, he got me just reading articles and Wizard about from him, like about Ninja Scroll and Ghost in the Shell and all these kind of shows. That got me deep. I got real deep into it then, and then that's kind of where my work is kind of based from those couple of guys. Mark Bagley, his run on Amazing Spider-Man is
Right.
where I started comics, and like he's my favorite Spider-Man artist now to this day. He's one of the only guys, him and Greg Capullo, who are still on my list of pros that I want to meet.
Oh, still on your list.
Yeah, I haven't met them yet.
All right. Earlier in the interview, you mentioned Todd McFarlane because he did his work.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Actually, it's funny because when I watched that interview, I didn't mention Dave Finch to the journalist or anything. John Romita, yeah, he's a big influence on a lot of people, but he's not necessarily an influence on me. Some of the names that he dropped in there, I'd never mentioned at all. So it was kind of funny.
So he just like went and like looked for Canadian artists because David Finch is
just
from
Googled it.
Windsor, Ontario, where I grew up. Fantastic person.
Yep.
I met him and his wife. The latest run that I know that they were working on Wonder Woman, and he did something fantastic called I think it's the supervillain one. The recent DC big crossover where like the supervillains take over, and that was like one of the best comic books I've seen with his art. It was just amazing. I'm sorry, I can't remember it.
I like Dave. I like his art, but he was never a big inspiration to me.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Oh, and speaking of inspirations, Jay Crawford says, "Well, you are one of my inspirations to create your own comic book and hero for Geek Fest. So, thank you."
Well, you are welcome. I'd love to see what you come up with.
And Chad Park, I've met Capullo, and he's a great guy.
That's what I've heard. That's why I just really want to meet him. Actually, the day. Okay, let me start again. When my son was born, I bought him Batman everything. It was like, you need the Batman sleeper, you need the Batman this, you need the Batman that. So I would always just barrage his Twitter page with pictures of my son and all this Batman stuff. And then he followed me after that. And the day that Greg Capullo followed me on Twitter, for as ridiculous as it sounds, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And
Yeah.
I've had a chance to talk to him a little bit through like DMs on there, and it's just geeking out. It was big time. I loved it.
Chad also mentions that he's met Finch and his wife, and they were wicked to meet as well. You get a chance.
Absolutely.
They're Canadian, man. I mean, they've got the same attitude. They're down to earth. They're pretty cool. Huh.
Well, that's like Tom Grummett. When I got the chance to meet him at the first Sask Expo, I was super nervous because Tom Grummett was also one of those guys. Like his run on Robin, I just loved it. So I dug out my issue #1 of Robin. Oh, can you sign this, please? And here I'm a 30-some-year-old man, and he's like, "Oh yeah, for sure." He signs it up, and now I've become kind of friends with him and his wife Nancy, and they're just amazing people. They're super nice, down to earth. You would never know that Tom is a guy who's done everything and everything in comics.
Nice. So speaking of Robin, your Blackthorne's not gonna, get some 13-year-old kid to team up with him and freaking fight crime for him, is he?
No,
Okay, good.
maybe a 15-year-old.
15. All right. Train them younger,
Actually-
man. They can take the shots a lot easier.
Actually, it's funny because my daughter and I, she's an aspiring writer, and we're kind of collaborating on a story that has to do with not necessarily Blackthorne taking on like a sidekick, but taking someone in that he understands what they're going through. Breaking news here on the Dr. Stevel Show.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Jeff Burton, his Aurora Man's kind of based on him. Is Blackthorne kind of based on you and your experiences?
In the beginning, he was.
Okay.
Because the old adage saying, you write what you know. And so I based a lot of my characters on not only myself, but family members. And then as I grew and kind of matured as a writer, okay, like I can't be having my name on the front of the book and the guy inside is also that name. So I changed things up, got a little more creative, and it's the same world, but it's just they have their own names now.
Fair enough. Yeah, you're right. Draw what you know. The pitiful human lizard. His parents were actually based on his parents. Lizard's parents was based on Jason Liu's parents, and it's quite cool, because he's showing his mom around, at some cons, and we're all happy to meet her. It's like she was a super celebrity. Like, it's Jason's mom, it's Lizard's mom, yay!
And Jason's an awesome guy. I got to meet him in Saskatoon too.
Nice.
He's super nice. We had a real nice conversation about why do superhero costumes have to be so complicated? Just nice, simple costumes are sometimes best. So that was a fun meet, getting to meet him.
Yeah, they're complicated. You're right. Simplicity works, but colorful was because Superman. When they created him, they wanted like someone that looked like a circus performer with lots of color and glitz. Because just having another guy walking around with a suit beating people up is like, they've already got Dick Tracy.
Exactly.
This one kind of stands out a bit more, and that's kind of how this thing goes. Everyone wants flashy and really cool, so we got to kind of work that in somehow. Even though most people like that would like, no, I'm not going to wear that. Are you kidding?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, how's it like working with Jeff Burton?
Really good. He always gave me that creative freedom to, okay, do what you want. If there's a couple panels that you think don't work, do what you got to do. I trust you as an artist. So I'd send him kind of previews of what I'm doing and stuff, and he'd say, yeah, I like that, or no, that doesn't really work. And we worked really good as a team together. I am going to be working at some point on another Aurora Man story, but it's not Aurora Man as Jeff, like the Jeff Burton character. It's I don't know if you've seen, Jeff has kind of alternate Aurora Men. Like there's a Aurora Ronan. He's
an evil version.
Maybe. I don't know what he's. I don't know.
Right, clean shaven.
Exactly. But this is a Viking Aurora man
Oh,
that he got me to design, and then he wrote a story for it, and I just couldn't get around to it. And I asked him the one night, I asked, do you have an actual origin of how he becomes Aurora Man and how he finds the globe and all this stuff? Well, not really. I was like, well, what if I wrote one? So I sat down and I started writing one, and I sent it to him. He's like, yeah, I really like that. So at some point, I'll start on that. I got a couple other projects that I got to get done first.
that sounds exciting. With this
Yeah.
COVID-19 happening, that's giving you a lot more time to work on some of these projects now.
Not really.
No.
I've been working the whole time where
Okay.
I work because we're a manufacturer. We're considered an essential service.
Essential, yeah. Essential to
Yeah.
keep the rich people happy, right? Need their second votes coming in.
Exactly.
On the same way, yeah.
So I've been working this entire time. So nothing's really changed a whole lot for me. For me, the biggest part of making comics and stuff like that is finding the time in the day to do it. Because I have a wife, I have a son, I have a daughter, I have the day job. So I get up at around 4 a.m. local time. I work on it till my son gets up, and then when he gets up, get ready for the day job. Then I go to work all day, and then I come home, and then it's trying to carve out some time for the wife and I, and then I do it all again the next day.
I'm impressed. That takes a lot of discipline, and wow.
Why, thank you.
Seriously,
Coffee
because
helps.
I have all these great plans that are happening, and I just go on Facebook, and next you know, 8 hours later, like, what? What do you mean?
I keep my phone on do not disturb until my son gets up, because yeah, that's the way I am too.
I noticed that a lot of artists that like I'm on Facebook late, and a lot of the artists are still awake. I mean, that's when the best time you guys are working.
I can't stay up late because I get up early. I can't stay up
Right.
late.
Okay. So you get up early then. So like 4 in the
Yeah.
morning, it's like, hey, I'm off to work at 4. I get up at 4 to get on to work, and then I see you're online, like, huh, crazy
Yep.
artist hours.
Yep. Yeah. It's progressed from, well, I'll get up at 5:30 to 5. Now it seems like 4 is the time I wake up. So whatever. Got to get work done.
Then just hit Red Bull. I'm not sleeping at all.
Exactly.
Oh. Now you've got your project is all funded for
Yeah.
the Kickstarter, right? But you put out a little message that you did not take into account the shipping.
For retailers, no. Because originally I wasn't going to do a Kickstarter. And then the more I was talking to Jeff and I was talking to Alfonso, and he really was like, hey, you should do a Kickstarter for this. You're right, I should. So I hammered out this Kickstarter, like no research or anything on anything, like a lot of guys do. I just kind of, the way my comics are, just fly by the seat of my pants. Let's see what happens. And I wasn't even thinking about, okay, retailers, no shipping. I didn't think about that because I'm up at 4 a.m. and that's when I was doing this. So a friend of mine from Cuckoo Nest Press, Mark, he works at a store in Saskatoon. And he's like, I really wanted to support it, like with the store, but like the shipping, it kind of negates you giving the retailers a bit of a break. You're right. So I quickly changed that, and yeah.
Oopsie. Well, this being your first Kickstarter, are you happy with the response that you got?
I am. If you would have asked me a few years ago, are you going to run a Kickstarter? I would have told you absolutely not. Like, not happening. Emotionally and mentally, I was not at a place where if it failed, I couldn't handle it. Now, though, I figured I'll take a chance. It doesn't succeed, I'll just do what I usually do. But luckily, enough people pledged and people seem interested in this issue that it got funded, and yeah, let's roll on to the next one.
There's also that thing we were talking about. You said that you think that you're bothering people by spamming all these sites, but because of that, that's where your name, Colin Work, Colin Work, Colin Work, Blackthorne. So everyone gets to see it all the time. So now you got a Kickstarter. It's like, oh, it's that Colin Work guy. I've heard of him before. It sounds good. So your marketing is brilliant.
I hope that's the way it is, and not like, oh God, that guy again. No, I'm not pledging to that.
Yeah, I usually get that response too. When I'm like, date night. Like, oh, that guy again. Geez, he changed his name. Damn it. It turns out to be a blind date again. It's like, oh, not the bear spray. Oh, why? Why didn't I wear glasses? Like I should have known. But anyways,
I haven't been so hard on the promoting the Kickstarter the last little bit, because it feels like anytime I'm online, that's all I'm doing. Kickstarter, Kickstarter. It's funded. Now I'm using it more just as a pre-order. You want the new issue, you want back issues, throw your money on there, then it's all together and it all goes out at the same time.
well, also, I kind of mentioned that because you still got your Kickstarter, so I still kind of advertise it because you got to cover the cost of the shipping, right? So only the extra cash would probably go into that.
Yeah, I've had a lot of friends who've done Kickstarter, and that's the one thing they tell me: make sure you have enough for the shipping. And I've done that is one thing I did not fly by the seat of my pants on, was the shipping. I made sure.
All right, on. What are some of the perks that people are going to get if they want to, jump on this Blackthorne wagon?
I went with a real kind of no frills campaign, because a lot of campaigns that I've seen, they want to give you T-shirts and pins and this and that, which is just more money out of my pocket to be able to provide you initially. And as a husband and a father, I have other things that I have to pay for, Right. But I want everything to you as soon as I can. So basically, it's just the new issue, the previous issues, or you can pledge original artwork, commissions, stuff like that. Stuff that I can get to you easy and fairly quickly, that I don't have to rely on an outside source to get it done.
Cool. I definitely pledged the commission stuff, so I'll be getting the books and a Blackthorne versus the Dr. Stevel thing,
I have ideas,
which I can add to my collection back there. If you look closely,
Perfect.
most of those are covers of artists that have done commissions for me on covers of their books or other things.
Perfect.
I have this little thing where I just want to go up against every Canadian superhero, since in real likelihood it's not going to happen.
Oh, you never know.
Like a lot of people want to be the sidekick or the hero. I want to be the bad guy. They're more fun.
I agree.
Right?
I really enjoy writing. Like, I enjoy writing Blackthorne's character, but I really enjoy writing the Jester in my book and Cyber Slash, because you can be meaner. You have no handcuffs. You can do whatever you want.
When you write these guys, do you just write them as like throwaway villains, or do you actually get into their heads and give them a backstory and make them almost relatable?
They all have backstory. Jester is a character who he believes everything he does is justified and right, even though things like murdering people and all that kind of stuff is obviously very wrong. But he feels that he is 100% justified in everything he does. And you get to find out. I just finished writing the treatment kind of script for issue number 5, and you get to find out why he's done all this to Blackthorne. And it's such an inane reason that it's like, are you serious right now?
Please don't make it be his long lost twin brother.
No, it's not. No.
No, because we've seen that in Batwoman already on CW. That's my sister. Oh, that's why nobody's killed her yet. Just bad person. Bang. Sorry. Yeah, you're a lot wiser for that. You're...
Yeah, no, I really enjoy writing those characters. I enjoy writing the villains. Yeah. But I'm a big pro wrestling fan. I have been for a lot of years. And my favorite wrestlers are always the heels. I just love them.
Right?
You can,
What do you
they
think of
can
Roman
do
Reigns
whatever.
right now?
I really like Roman Reigns as a heel.
I mean,
I like,
as soon as he
I
stepped
like,
up with Paul Heyman, his attitude has just been fantastic. He's one of the best heels out there now.
oh yeah, he's really good. I liked Roman Reigns when he was a face too, just because like the matches he was putting on and his look and everything, like he had it all, but he needed that one little thing.
Yeah.
And now that he's got this whole, he's the tribal chief and the head of the count, head of the table or whatever. Yeah, I really like him as a heel.
And his
But
promos, like, I mean, they made fun of him because he couldn't talk, but damn, his promos are freaking killer as a bad guy.
Well, I think because they've kind of taken the handcuffs off him. Because from what I've heard, that Paul Heyman is he's the one that's in charge of that character.
Good.
No one else. So everyone knows what Paul can do, right?
Yeah.
And like Reigns as a heel, I'm glad they waited till now for him to be a heel, because he really needed people to just hate his guts. So when he comes out as a heel, that heat's there already. So bring it on. Let's do it then.
Jay Crawford, that's because Heyman is a god. LOL. Or do you mean good, like Foley said? Remember back then? Mick Foley came,
yeah.
all these signs that Foley has got. He goes, "You made a mistake. It's 2 O's. It's good." He's pretty freaking humble and funny about that.
Mm-hmm.
He's also a great person to meet live if you ever get a chance. Mick Foley, fantastic human being. Yeah. He's one of the few people, if you go to Comic Cons, he's there early, but he stays late because he believes in he loves his fans.
Oh yeah.
When I met him, the second time I met him, he remembered me as Dr. Evil. He goes, "Oh, come on up here. Here's my daughter. Yeah, well, hey, this Dr. Evil. He's pretty cool here, guy." But Mick Foley came in earlier before anyone else. He knew he was going to get a lot of fans. So he was just like sitting there and boom, 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 just pumping out the autographs and saying hello to people because he takes time to chat with people.
Well, and that's the thing with Mick is that he is still, it doesn't matter that he was WWF champion. It doesn't matter any of that. He's still an indie guy, right?
Yeah.
He gets to the building early, checks things out, does his thing, and he waits till all the other boys are gone, and he wants to be the last one out, and that's the way he's always been. So it's just natural that he keeps that going, even though he's not wrestling.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of respect because he understands what it is to be a fan. Because I mean, if you read his book, he was a fan as well, and
yeah,
one of his many books. I mean, they're all pretty entertaining, man. It was one of the first times I've read proper biographies about wrestlers, and his was just entertaining because he's telling the story and go, "I remember watching that. This is cool." Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So this is pretty decent. So have you ever tried the wrestling gloves, or have you ever got in the ring or done anything?
No. No, not me.
Fair enough. It's pretty fun. I get to manage a little bit, so I just go and make people hate me, and then just make sure I could take at least one bump at the end, so the payoff is there. So fans get what they want, and then it's all good. But I freaking enjoy it. It's you get the audience involved in it. It's just more amazing for an indie show. Yeah. I mean, last thing you want is, oh, here's a wrestler coming out. He's a good guy, but he doesn't make eye contact, and nobody cares. Bad guy comes out, nobody cares. But if you freaking sit there and you make eye contact, you either say hello or you badmouth the fans, they freaking hate you. And they're also part of the show, which is amazing.
Oh yeah. Well, I know we went to a live WWE show, like a house show in Saskatoon. This was a few years ago, and The Miz came, and of course everyone hates The Miz, even when he was supposed to be a good guy. And at this point, house show rules were no mics, like no talking with the mic or nothing like that. Well, he grabs the mic because there's some guy just chirping him that was in the crowd. He grabs the mic and just tore into him. Oh, it was so good. And after that, everyone was just so into the match because they wanted to see The Miz get just whooped.
For sure. Jay Crawford, you have a few stories already lined up for future Blackthorne books?
Absolutely. I have starting in issue number 6. I don't know how long the storyline's going to be, whether it's going to be another 3 or 4 issue book or issue story, or if it's just going to be kind of a quicker one. We'll see how it paces out. But yeah, I have the next storyline all lined up already. I got it all figured out. And I'm working on volume 2, or chapter 2, I guess, of Blackthorne Adventures. It's the webcomic that I put out last year. Oh yeah, I put out a webcomic last year too. That it's not going to be continuing the story that happens in chapter 1. It's going to be a different story. I'm using it as a way to introduce different characters without kind of having to interfere with the main story.
Right.
Like in chapter 1, I introduced one of the villains that I've had for a long time. His name is Joshua. He's a scientifically deranged kind of character. And actually, if you pledge to the Kickstarter, whether it's the digital tiers or the physical tiers, you get all the digital stuff too. So you'll get a copy of Blackthorne Adventures Chapter 1.
Fair enough. I did. And I'm looking forward to getting all my cool toys and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Blackthorne Multiverse. That's what Jay says. Any plans for Blackthorne to team up with Aurora Man? Like, Superman versus Batman, Blackthorne versus Aurora Man?
Maybe.
Yeah.
You'll have to wait till issue number 4 comes out. Let's just say that.
All right, I'm looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
Since you two got some history, you and Jeff.
Yeah.
But anything else you want to tell your fans out there besides supporting your Kickstarter, which we'll still put out here?
No, that's pretty much it. I want to thank everyone for supporting the Kickstarter. Something that I didn't think would fly as much as it did, but I think last I checked, it's 135% funded, which
Wow.
is huge. Which is huge for me.
Bigly huge. Very good.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. I really appreciate everyone that supported my work over the last 3-4 years. All the friends that I've made in comics, not only other creators, but fans who have come to see me at shows. I appreciate everyone. Because if it wasn't for everyone, I wouldn't be doing this.
So it's really cool, right? You're sitting there and fans come up and say, "Oh, I love Blackthorne. I love your characters." And how does that get you all excited?
Yeah, I really like that one. Someone who knows me for my art,
yeah,
and finds out that I wrote the book, and they tell me, "Oh, I really like your art. I know what I'm getting with your art from Aurora Man, but your story, oh, I just loved it." Like that really, for me as a artist who's trying to be a writer at the same time, that's really what clinches it for me.
That's good. Well, I can't wait to read your books and check it out. I'm totally looking forward to it.
I can't wait to hear what you say.
Another superhero a Canadian superhero to add to my collection. I'm collecting them. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the Chatting with Dr. Stevel show and Colin work. If you want to continue, you can still catch his Blackthorne issues on Kickstarter here. Or if you want to check out his website, which is down below at, colinwork.wixsite.com, or Facebook, The Art of Colin Work, or YouTube. Colin Work's actually got a few videos out there of him drawing, but he sped it up so it looks like he's like super fast. Looks amazing.
I'm a lot more regular on Instagram. Colin Work Art on Instagram. So you can go there too.
Exchange Facebook with Instagram, Colin Work Art, or Colin Work Art, right? Sorry.
All of it. I'm on all sorts of stuff.
He's everywhere. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, Colin, for your time.
Thank you.
All right. I'm just going to do the wave while I log off. This way it doesn't look like we're really awkward waiting for me to press the buttons, as I'm doing right now. Okay. End broadcast. Yes. Ending.